We are back. Looking forward to another brilliant weekend of racing. The Grand National Fences in action this weekend at Aintree. Joel's alongside me, and Frankie joins us on course, looking for a cracking day down in Exeter.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, we're about 15 minutes from gates opening, hence why it's very quiet at the moment. Slight drizzle. I reckon it could be perfect ground at Wincanton tomorrow if it's like this. Been down as good, but with a little bit of a drizzle today, I think everyone will be happy enough for racing there. And between us, we've done all right picking the winner of the Badger, haven't we, the last couple of years? I think we've had the winner the last 2 years, so it looks a tricky old one to figure out, but hopefully we can do the same again this weekend.
Just back Frodon. That's all you got to do. Have a couple of Badger beers.
Come back, run.
Frodon. Everyone's a winner. And by the time Bridie's finished the interview, it'll be next year's. It's that simple, isn't it? Just make it that simple. Then let's have a look then at the action. Where we start in Wincanton. Was it the 109?
It is the 109, yeah. 2.5 mile handicap chase.
We'll start with you then, Frankie. You know so much about it. Tedley on the hat trick.
Tedley is on a hat trick. Beau Balko, though, is on a hat trick of threes and maybe can go one better. Just got a little bit more chase experience than some of the others in the field. And I'll probably be saying this for quite a lot of this show. And hopefully by the end of today, Exeter, I'm not regretting saying it, but I reckon Paul Nicholls could have a massive weekend. And those that have needed the run may now get their chance to get their head in front. So Beau Balko, a reasonable return, has a bit more experience over fences and only a couple of pound higher than his last winning mark. I think he's got a good profile to go and win.
Yeah, I can see the case for those Nicholls horses. They've had a run, Joel.
Yeah, I completely agree with the Nicholls horses that had run. So I'll be looking because I've got one later on. So I'll be keeping powder dry. However, Tedley, well back last weekend, beat my Nap, who did all the donkey work. Choose the News in the last 100 yards, stayed on well, extra half furlong this weekend, same combo. Nigel Twiston-Davis, Jamie Brace claiming the 3, up £6. There's nothing to dislike here. Going for the hat trick. Tedley this weekend, who did me last weekend, is going to get my cash.
Okay, right, a rarity, a big field. We've got 145, 14 mares have been declared for this mare's handicap hurdle. And again, Paul Nicholls and the leading contender. So are you though, Joel, this time?
Well, yeah, because Frankie, has he got a Tannoy announcement there? Public address announcement. Could that man, who looks like he's just been sleeping rough, could he move away from the parade ring, please? Or the paddock, or wherever he is?
You're talking about me or Paul Nicholls?
Yeah. Yeah, say it to his face, me, I'm hard. Look, last year's winner, Good Luck Charmer, 18-1. For Anthony Honeyball, I've been backing a few of his horses recently. He's had 9 runners in the last fortnight. 3 have won. All 9 have been in the frame. And I'll just have a little bash on Good Luck Charm this weekend. Look, pretending at the top of the market. Looks solid, but 18-1 last year, and we're probably going for a similar price this year. I just go for it. The trainer in form. Yeah, I love that. 9 runners last fortnight, all in the frame. So a little each way on Good Luck Charm.
Good luck, Joel, then for Joel. Frankie?
I'm backing our lad. Actually, no, I'm not. He's not riding it. I'm backing the boss. All the glory. She won a decent race at Newbury last season, and then a couple of quiet runs through the summer, and now back to business. I don't mind a horse that hasn't necessarily performed through the summertime because they're a bit of nothing races, aren't they? The summer jumpers. Maybe you're gone for a day out or just to kind of stay fit. But when you get back to this time of year, it means business. And all the glory, if she runs anything like she did when she won at Newbury, I'd say she'd be in with a squeak.
Okay, all the glory then. Right, over the fences, the Rising Stars Novices Chase, Grade 2. We'll get Joel's thoughts on the Noel Feeney Racing Club runner Insurrection, because see if he's got an in with that one. But do we take Ben Paulin's comments about handstands at face value? Because if we do, we could be seeing this fella flying high throughout the season, Frankie.
Yeah, maybe we'll see what Joel says. I'll make a case first for Insurrection, and then John might tell me I'm talking rubbish. But handstands, yes, was kind of like talked about as a star, and is being talked about as the star again, but didn't perform that well at Cheltenham when he came up against better opposition. And he only reached a rating of 139 over hurdles. If you look at Insurrection, who reached a rating of 130 over hurdles, but then has had that benefit of a chase debut, and was only just beaten by remind me of
John Joe's horse,
John Joe's horse's name. Springwell Bay, yeah, who's got a rating of 145 and was a decent hurdler himself as well. So when you kind of put the fact that Nichols' horses improve a lot from hurdles to fences next to form behind Springwell Bay, I think it can bridge that gap between handstands. I say handstands got a tough assignment on his chasing debut, and I'd probably be with Nichols again here.
Can't believe you forgot the name of Springwell Bay. You had a cuddle
I
with him
know.
and everything.
I know.
Well, that's typical Frankie, isn't it? Have a cuddle and never remember the name.
Until I've got the cuddle, I'll tell you his name. But
Oh, come on, Joel.
afterwards,
No, I pretty much agree with what Frankie says. I'm really in love with handstands. However, Insurrection, you're not getting this price if Paul Nichols was in better form, 11-4, 3-1. The Noel Feely Racing Syndicate have been on their cock a hoop about Insurrection this weekend. And also, it has had the run, 12th of October at Chepstow, like Frankie said, beating Springwell Bay. The thing that I look
just
at that,
behind Springwell Bay.
yeah, I look at that, I look at that race, and it's really sad because Cuthbert McDibble broke down in there and probably would have won as well, the even money favourite. I think handstands is one for the future, right? Really one for the future. It's gonna be great this year. But I think if Nichols, the horses with a run, I'm going for Insurrection with a value, and handstands has been backed. So if we're getting 3-1, 7-2 on Insurrection, I'm going for it. And Noel Feely and David Cross really fancy it this weekend.
Yeah, if Nichols doesn't have a winner at Exeter today, we might as well delete this podcast. Everything is hedging on the yard being in better form, isn't it?
Well, that takes us nicely then to the elite hurdle, and obviously Rubo, whose claims are clear. Only £1 separate just the three runners on official figures, but he's on a penalty. Can he give the weight away, Joel?
He can, but why is Aspire Tower this big price?
I agree, yeah.
You know, the outside of a three, and you've been sitting there and it's cold outside, and you've had your tenner on a three-runner race on the all-weather, and the outsider of three wins. Every time you go outsider of three. Look, you know, the two top of the market, great. Aspire Tower, why is it that price? Can you explain, Frankie?
I can't. I don't know how I'll have a bet in it, but because it's a weird old race. As Matt said, they're separated by £1. They're vastly different prices in the market. Rubo has had a funny old career because he got thumped by the likes of Constitution Hill, but then he's obviously won at this meeting before. But when he ran in the Kingwell, he got beaten by better horses. When he won this race last year, it was a pretty average race actually. So I can't quite work him out, albeit he's won on his debut and they're quite positive about him. Brentford Hope was a nice improver last year, won a couple of good handicaps. And Aspire Tower, like you said, once a champion hurdle contender and was only a half length over fences, but only half length behind Zanna here last year in a 2-mile chase. Like, he's got a bit of class about him. I don't get why he's fives. I don't think I'm going to have a bet. It's a very strange race. Three runners, all with very different profiles. I can't work it out. But if there's any opinion I've got, Aspire Tower should be way closer to the other two.
And I agree, and I advise taking the price now because, you know, 3-length winner at Punchestown 3 weeks ago. Watch that back. Obviously, Pied Piper took a heavy fall in that race, was the 4-9 shot in there. But, you know...
About 17 lengths clear of third as well, weren't they?
So, yeah. And I'm looking at these, and there should be 2-1, all three of them. So you're getting 5 or 6-1, and it is your fun bet of the weekend because anything could happen. But Aspire Tower, outsider of 3 for me, and I think you'll go with that as well. So let's have a go.
I like it.
Have a go.
Three then. Unanimous. Aspire Tower. Another prize going to Ireland. Right then, Badger Beer. Come on, boys. You've got a good record. And Anthony on the ball won it last year when he had a 3-pronged attack. He's gone with a 3-pronged attack again. Not with last year's winner, though. With all Gustavian and Forward Plan all back for more. Paul Nichols obviously got a good record on the race. He's got a runner in there as well. Right, I will start with Mr. Badger Beer himself, Frankie Foster, on this one.
Oh, God, I was hoping you'd go to Joel. I can't figure this out for the life of me. I've been looking at this race for hours, and each time I do, I come out with a different outcome. The favourite's best bit of form is on his chase debut behind Stay Away Faye, and he's been unlucky / hasn't jumped right, and therefore his mark is definitely lower than it should be. And Tizard is obviously having a good crack at the Holden Gold Cup at Exeter today and Wincanton the Badger tomorrow. Like, I think he has got the right kind of profile to win. It just puts me off a touch that he's a bit sloppy with his jumping. Lord Accord is like £8 lower than when second behind Frodon. Could be back to form, could go and win. Anthony Honeyboy, you said, is having a crack with a few. that have raced in the race before as well. Oh, it's a proper head scratcher. Right at the bottom of the market, the big breakaway for Anthony Charlton now switched trainers. I mean, he's racing off like I think £9 lower than when running all right in this the last year. I think wildly, I'm going to bookend the market. The Changing Man, if he jumps well, 130 is a generous mark for him. And the big breakaway, if the nutter does anything like he did last year, carrying a hell of a lot less weight, stranger things have happened than getting in the places at 20 to 1.
Okay. Tis our present and past then with two of the Badger Beer, Joel.
I'm going nap in this race.
Wow.
Okay, I've done hours on this, but you know what I love when there's so much racing on a Saturday? Lazy traders who work in the bookmaking industry. Lazy bar stools, I tell you. So if you look at Forward Plan, right, last year, and they will just look at the results. Beaten 24 lengths back in 6. He was £7 out the handicap that day, right? He was running really well and got really tired 3 out. Improved £13 last season in 5 chases, 2 wins, a no second, and 3rd in all in top chases. Anthony Honeybull is 33% so far this season, and I'm really in love with the guy this season. Forward Plan goes for me. Ben Godfrey gets on with him really well. He's a jock that, jobber jock. He's not one of the top jocks. He's just written out his claim. He can't claim the 3, but this will be set up for this race, I believe. Stable going well. Horse and jockey get on really well and has improved and improved and improved. And what we're looking at, about 11 to 1, something like that. Lazy traders. This should be 3-4 to 1. Get on, nap of the weekend.
All right, nap of the weekend for Plan at a price as well.
Oh, Ross.
Everybody said he won the race last year. Right, let's go to Aintree. Then show another Pertemps qualifier. We had 4 in one of them and Newbury this week. And again, there's an Irish challenger, Charles Byrne, sending over a Reverend Hubert. Joel, I'll start with you this time. Which of the 9 do you think will win the Pertemps qualifier? And as long as in the weight, automatic qualifier for the final at the festival.
Well, I looked at Reverend Hubert because as soon as the prices came up, 12 to 1, smashed into 6s for Charles Burns, ex-Hannon, and Sean Bowen, who's probably the best jock in the country, along with Sammy Twiston Davis and Cobden. Wasn't for me. Bold Endeavour I'd go for on the stable switch.
Sure, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, mate. How you doing? You
Oh,
okay?
sorry, mate.
All good?
Sorry, mate.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Batch.
Oh, Massey Bachelor. How you doing?
Yeah, good. All good.
Yeah, all good. Good to see you.
And you?
I told you, I'll bring in the stars.
Yeah,
They'll be arriving in a minute.
yeah. He's the bookie he works for. Just got bust. Don't tell him. I'm going for Bold Endeavour, 50 to 1. At the final in March this year, when was with Hendo, and then 2 poor runs. Was Hendo out of form? At end of the season as well, because Aintree and Haydock, it just completely no shows. Change of scenery to Laura Mongan. It wouldn't be a stable upgrade, but I think would get more of a loving touch, a stroke. Just that more 1-to-1 than Hendo would give. So I'm going Bold Endeavour and quite strong in this.
Right, Frankie, you got time to give us a pick in this? Any more stars around? Any more people of the racing world?
We'll find out. We'll go get some jockeys in a minute. Harbour Lake, I fancy. Finished off last season, finishing behind Zane Knights twice, who finished 3rd in the Cheltenham Pertemps race in the season opener at Cheltenham. Alan King's had a couple of winners this week. Likes good ground. I think Harbour Lake sticking over hurdles this year after having like 1 or 2 unsuccessful attempts over fences could have a squeak.
All right, then we have a look at the next, the 205, a 2-mile handicap chase. Imperial Saint will be the warm order here, you would imagine, after his course win at the Old Rower meeting a couple of weeks ago. Frankie, with the favourite, or are you elsewhere?
Yeah, I think this is Nap. He's actually got shorter by a fair amount, even from last night to this morning. It's a pretty poor race, I'm not going to lie. I was having a look through at some of the more experienced horses like Hunter Legend and Grey Diamond even, but I was really trying to take on the favourite. I just don't think there's that much quality with those that are towards the top of the weights. So I would suggest that he builds on this and then probably goes on to race in better handicaps than here, despite carrying top weight. If you're going to have an each way squeak, Grey Diamond, who's moved to Donald McCain, looked like he had a bit more life in him when coming 3rd at Weatherby last time out than he had for Gordon Elliott last season. He's was on a massive recline. Is down in the weights than when he was at Gordon's. If Don McCain has brought him back to life, he'd be my each way play. But I think the fab's pretty strong here.
That's pretty strong for Frankie, Joel.
Totally agree with Frankie. Imperial saying for Hobbs and White are having a decent season. Sound like a firm of solicitors. Richard Johnson Racing Syndicate. So, Richard Johnson will be out there telling Michael Nolan how to do it. Last run of the season, end of October, beat JP's Panetti Tonnerre. Kept finding that race. Exactly the same conditions. 2 miles, good. Aintree, it's next best. Imagine you're riding, was it Rooster Booster or Detroit City or whatever. He will be telling it, and also Michael Nolan will be tapping his pants if he doesn't do it for Richard Johnson. It is next best of the weekend for me.
There you are, then unanimous then with Imperial saying. And then last but not least, the Grand Sefton, the first side to the All Grand National Fences this season. Joel, we'll start with you. 13 go to post and plenty of informed runners.
Yeah, there's loads of them. 2 horses I've given up already on this season and last season. Presenting Pete. It doesn't run in this race, but I can't get this horse right, so he's gone in the bin. And Ferrero Bamboo, New Year's Day, 7 lengths behind Shake 'em Up Harry at Cheltenham. Since that, 2 pulled up, 6 of 21 at Cheltenham, 6 of 8 at Musselburgh. However, Venetia handicaps this time of year, but that's it, I'm done. I'm going with King Turgeon for David Pipe. Had a winner on Thursday, American Sniper, well backed, just held on. Stabler in decent form, 21%. Had a run, end of October. 10 lengths, easy. Cobden was on that day. And Harry Cobden was throwing the horse at its fences, and especially the last, when it was clear, getting ready for these fences. So I think, and having the French pedigree as well, and racing in France, I think there'll be no problem with these fences. So I'm going really strong on King Turgeon in the 240.
Yeah, if there's one man you want to know how to train over the national fences, remember Vio Leon Rouge. He's got more national fences than any other horse ever. So he's with King Turgeon. Frankie in the Grand Sefton.
My eye is on 2 very different horses. Latenightpass just ticks plenty of boxes, goes on good ground, goes around 8 years, has come second and first in Hunter Chases, was fancy for the national. This is obviously slightly easier, and Tom Ellis has had 2 winners already this week. So just a proper box ticker. And then the Rogue, Harper's Brook, always touted as talented, had his issues and his mishaps when he decided to stop racing, but obviously has moved to the scouting yard. And you never know, with quirky horses, change of scenery, may mean that he likes his game a bit more. I never forget pulling, obviously it's a shame that the Megsons have moved their horses away, but he always said this horse was really, really talented, and I still don't feel like he's shown his full potential. So in a handicap, could get his way.
Good stuff. Right, there we are then. 8 races covered in front of the ITV cameras over the sticks on Saturday. I need the best bets, but I think we've already given them. Joel, you're with Forward Plan.
Forward Plan in the Badger Beer.
And Frankie, Imperial Saint?
Imperial Saint in the 2 mile handicap chase at Aintree.
And Joel's on the phone to his
bookmaker.
Bumpety Bump is on.
Oh.
Alan Johns has gone to the trouble of booking Charlie Deutsch in the bumper at Aintree. Okay? Thank you very much.
Bumpity bump. You heard it here first.
Just Johnny in the bumper.
He does his homework, bumpity bump.
Hang on, John Joe's got one in there. Is it Dangerous Nap? Did you pick anything up when you went on your big tour to Jack Dawes Castle, or were you just hanging around?
We were just hanging around, really.
All right, that's cool then.
An old chat. We've got 120 horses, and this was one that didn't come under the microscope.
Very good. I love the fact that you're looking for the future.
Thanks. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So yeah, I've got the best bets of the boys. Have a cracking weekend. Don't forget, we've got the flat as well of Jason Weaver. Looking forward to that at Doncaster, the final flat turf action. But for the boys, we'll see you next weekend when we're back in Cheltenham for the November meeting. How excited are you?
Can't wait. November meeting is when the proper horses come over, isn't it? The October ones just whet the appetite, but the November meeting, it's when the big guns come, Matt. And we'll have our Road to Cheltenham show up and running, reviewing the action from both days on the Monday or the Tuesday that follows as well.
Yeah, exactly that. Cannot wait for it. And the boys will join us then. We'll have our Road to Cheltenham series getting underway next week ahead of the November meeting. Cannot wait. Join us, of course, next Friday as well, when we'll have a look at hopefully some winners at the Holy Grail, that is at Cheltenham. Right, so best of luck whenever you're back in this weekend. So don't forget, we'll hear from Jason Weaver on the flat stuff at Donny.